Alright, how's everybody doing? I'm here with my favorite frame in the whole game, Mag. So I think Mag is criminally underrated. For some reason, a lot of people still think Mag is bad. Kind of blows my mind. So the core of really any Mag build is going to be around her Magnetize. That's kind of her namesake ability, right? You know, the cool thing from the trailer, the cinematic, whatever. So my personal all-time favorite weapon to use with Mag is the Cyanx, and not the primary fire. The primary fire is more of a gas weapon, but the secondary fire is actually a slash-based weapon. So Mag's Magnetize has a ton of synergy with weapons that are projectiles. It really likes punch through because your bullets will bounce around in there and hit things more. And it's can really amplify damage. So it's not a direct damage buff. So it's a little counterintuitive sometimes. So you fire in there. Now these are 180 corrupted heavy gunners, right? And they're taking a pretty hefty chunk of damage, right? So it almost killed them, and I'm gonna go ahead and detonate this, and wow, they're almost dead. So that's pretty cool. Now let's see if I just use the Cyanx on one of them. Wow, it doesn't even do close to that much damage. I had to hit it with it once and get some debuffs on there. So you saw that did a lot of damage. And now some of the traditional mag synergy weapons are primary weapons, such as the Exorgist, the Sakura Penta. I think a lot of the beam weapons like Phantasma are really good with mag because you're clumping enemies together. But what if we decided to not use our primary for damage? Now, what do I mean by that? So before, when I used my Magnetize and Cyanx, it killed like half of them, took the rest down pretty low, and the explosion did the rest. Okay, so now what if I do this? So what if I... So what the actual F just happened? So that is Mag with the Scourge. Now what is the Scourge? Okay, just gonna go and reset real quick. So what the Scourge is, is Harrow's signature primary, and it has an alt fire, which it creates an energy field that basically makes you have guaranteed headshots. Now, one of the issues with Mag and why she can sometimes be a little inconsistent is you'll end up having like one or two like heavy enemies you need to finish off, and your bullets just aren't hitting them inside the Magnetize, and it can be pretty frustrating. So I found Scourge to be an extremely potent addition to Mag. It synergizes very well with her Magnetize. In addition, you can also get heat, viral, and corrosive on the Scourge. Right? Scourge does a ton of damage on its own, and it's really good at applying status effects. Like, getting heat, corrosive, and viral on enemies is fantastic. Now, another thing that this can do, so let me just chuck this. Oops. So it can sometimes like end up over there. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this. Cyanx is probably my favorite alt secondary to use with this. Some other pretty cool secondaries are secondaries of note would probably be the Athodai alt fire is very potent into Magnetize. Catabalist is also really nice. So Catabalist has all corrosive damage, so you can get viral, heat, and corrosive on the Catabalist. My main issue with the Catabalist is that it has pretty poor ammo economy. So that's one of the problems. You can do some pretty memey stuff with like the Zymoc, or where is it? Zymos, rather. I also found that both of the infested kit guns, both the Spore Lacer and the Vermisplicer, work really, really, really well. And so why is that? So with mag, you kind of want to, especially if you're running the 2 augment, you really want to have a burst of damage, right? So, you know, you fire into this, you create a huge burst of damage, and then you detonate it, and it does more damage, and it's awesome, right? So, anything that can kind of make that better, you know, contribute more to that, it just goes along with your game plan. Whoops, my Scourge went way over there. So, in addition to, now let me pull out the ultimate mag weapon. All right, so ranged weapons are pretty baller, but what about a ranged melee weapon? Right, so the Stropha into Magnetized. Now the Stropha actually, it creates a particle, or a projectile rather. So the build that I run on the Stropha is just very funny. I think this is one of like kind of an underrated mod, honestly. It's 100% extra combo count chance. And so combined with quickening, you basically get to a very high stack of Blood Rush extremely quickly. So the whole kind of point of this build is you double tap with the high noon neutral attack that that instantly gets you to max combo, and then you heavy attack, and you just do a bajillion damage. It's very, very entertaining. And then my Cyanx build, so I do have a Riven on the Cyanx, so that's probably why the Cyanx is so effective. You can see I have a ton of punch through. So I have punch through on my Riven, I have punch through over here. Mag loves punch through. Punch through is amazing, right? Another thing, so with Scourge, you're getting automatic headshots, and that's making any slash damage way, way, way better. So you can see on the Cyanx, your burst fire is actually predominantly slash out of the IPS. So those headshot multipliers are making your slash procs do a lot more damage, which is really, really, really nice. The Scourge build literally doesn't matter. I have Heat, Viral, and Corrosive on here just because. I threw Prime Firestorm on here because why not? Do not put Punch Through on the Scourge. Okay, I will repeat. Do not put Punch Through on your Scourge. It will just fly through the ground and you will lose it for like 20 seconds. So definitely do not put Prime Shred or anything like that. Now I did mention a couple of the very good weapons with mag. Pretty much any explosive weapon is going to do at least okay. The Bubonico alt fire is pretty strong. A lot of the beam weapons feel pretty good. Exorgis is just a classic. Exorgis is probably like still the best primary to use just by itself. Primary Gaze is actually pretty solid. I use a 100 munitions build on that. Mutilus Cernos can be pretty memey. You can also do some meme stuff with the Mutilus Quanta. So you can shoot the secondary fire and then shoot in with your secondary. And if you have the augment that you get from Nightwave, that can be pretty entertaining. Phantasma is very underrated. That's very good. Quelor Altfire. Sakura Penta. Also, I use 100 munitions build on that. Shedu. Sporothrix can be hit or miss. It's actually kind of difficult to hit headshots in Magnetize sometimes. Super Vandal is a pretty standard mag weapon. And then of course, Brahma actually has some interesting interactions, so I'll let you guys find those out. The Shakur, even with a full bleed build, Let me just pull up my Shakur here. I think Shakur is absolutely phenomenal with internal bleeding. I actually put on both of these for just maximum consistency because it has such high base damage. And absolutely fantastic weapon. However, it doesn't really have much of an actual AoE. The range on the AoE is not very big, so it doesn't, and it's much lower damage than the actual direct hit. So I found the Shakur fairly underwhelming into Magnetize. So yeah, I've been really enjoying the Scourge. I think it just synergizes so well with what she's trying to do with ranged weapons. Trying to think if I've missed anything. So yeah, the Infested Kick Guns, Catabolist. My Cyanx is my personal favorite. Maradetron is like a classic. That's probably, one of the weapons most closely associated with Mag. And then yeah, the Stropha, or another thing is the Stropha or any glaive. Of course, glaives are pretty ridiculous right now. You can do some very interesting things with some of the glaive secondary mod combinations. So, for example, with like Mark of the Beast or Combo Fury is actually very interesting with, let me see here. Just trying to think. Let me go to Glaive Prime real quick. Glaive Prime. So, Combo Fury has a very a cute little interaction with the Cyanx. So let me kill something really quick here with Glaive Prime, which is pretty easy to do because it's ridiculously strong. Oh, there we go. Come on. Alright. So... Okay, so you see how I could reload? So now I have 22 bullets. So I can fire 22 shots. So that's a really funny combo. So yeah, Combo Fury on a Glaive with Cyanx. So these are probably like two of my favorite combos right now. Combo Fury on a Glaive with Cyanx, or the Scourge with Cyanx. Now I also have a Riven for the Glaive Prime, but honestly, you don't freaking need it. Glaive Prime is just bonkers ridiculous right now. It's just insane. Like, it's the strongest weapon in the game, I think. So yeah, Scourge, very funny. Cyanx, really great. Now, builds for the Mag herself. Now, you notice I focused a lot on the weapons, and that's because a lot of Mag's strength is really what weapons can synergize with Magnetize. Magnetize is just, it's so much of her power is in Magnetize. Now, for Mag herself, I like two different abilities, or two different builds, usually. So, oopsies, freezing up a little bit here. So the kind of more traditional build is decent duration, decent range, normal efficiency and strength. Now, one thing, you don't really need strength on Mag, pretty much at all. The most notable thing, so it will affect like the damage like some of the stuff for polarize, like the damage and stuff, and I mean the damage for crush, but nobody really uses crush for damage. Crush is mostly just used for not necessarily the damage, but the ability to restore your shields. So Mag is like, honestly, she might even be a better shield gating frame than Hildren, because Mag has, that's probably a little ridiculous, but Mag has so many ways to restore her shields. If you put Brief Respite on, and then her third and fourth ability both CC and restore shields, like, that's just crazy. She has so much crowd control, so much shield restore. If you get good at using Mag and you become really comfortable with her, you should really never die. She is just extremely durable, except against Infested, but that's, anybody with shield gating runs into that issue. She fares a little better than most because at least she has the crowd control for Magnetize, and you can always throw on an Arcane Resistance, which is very, very cheap. Or you can just farm the Terror list. It's extremely easy to get that arcane. One thing I will say, mag can be pretty energy hungry. So Arcane Energize is extremely good. You're probably going to want to get that anyways. Otherwise, you can include more efficiency here for taste. If you're really running into energy issues, you can probably even run, Primed Flow and um, Fleeting Expertise if you really have to. Now, her Polarize is one of those abilities that scales off both duration and range. So you don't really want to cut her duration unless you have to. You don't really want to. It's like Pillage, where the initial radius of the wave is controlled by range, but the duration that the wave propagates is determined by duration. And since you're, disarming enemies, you really don't want to cut your range too much, or your duration too much. So that's one thing you can do to mitigate her energy costs. You can also run a Death Cube with the Death Cube augment or precept. That's another thing you can do. You can run Zenuric. So there's a lot of ways to regen energy. Of course, you should definitely be aiming to get an Arcane Energize. It's a little more available now. The price is definitely way lower than it used to be. But if any events or anything come around, definitely try and get that. So Brief Respite, insanely strong on Mag. Like, you're using abilities all the time. It's just really great on her. She's a shield gate frame. She's not tanky without that. Prime Sure-Footed, I'm sorry this is a login reward, but it's the best mod in the game, I think. Super, super high quality of life. Natural Talent, like I said, this is kind of personal preference. You can just, put in more efficiency, a little more range, whatever you want here. Magnetized Discharge, I really like this augment because it lets you pop your bubbles. Without this augment, it just feels a little wonky. Because you have control over when you burst your bubbles for that burst damage. It gives you a chance to disarm enemies, and it's kind of like throwing on an extra stretch for your Magnetize, which is awesome. Rolling Guard, shield gating. Rolling Guard, match made in heaven. Primed Flow, Mag has a lot of energy. With Primed Flow, tons more energy. You do a ton of using abilities on Mag, you're going to want Primed Flow, 100%. Counter Pulse, once again, disarming enemies. This is a triple augment build right here. So, Mag's base kit is so good that you can basically just throw shield gating and augments on her and call it a day, and she's going to wipe the floor. So this is another thing that will help with Mag's sometimes extreme energy use. So running Spectra Rage from Gara, from Helminth, with the Spectra Siphon Augment. So this has I really like this augment with both Mag and Vauban because you're sucking enemies into a central area. So it just has a lot of synergy. Both of those frames use a lot of energy. This is really great. This can kind of mitigate not having an Arcane Energize. If you run Spectre Siphon, run Primed Flow, maybe throw Streamline in here, boom. You can that's probably good enough. The other build I run that I really like is a lot lower duration. And so this is more of like a burst build. And so what do I mean by that? Like, what does that even mean, a burst build? So, and here I'm running overextended, stretch, ton of range, right? 235% range. Dropped my duration down about half, and it has a little bit of strength. Now, I said strength doesn't matter. I lied a little bit. The one thing that strength actually does affect that's meaningful, because you got to remember, strength doesn't affect the damage of the other bullets, or of the bullets that get deflected around inside a Magnetize and hit other targets. It only affects the damage of literally when you shoot in there, the first time a bullet does damage, that it gets the damage multiplier, and that's it. So only on the target that you actually target with Magnetize. That's where see the damage multiplier on the tooltip there. It's very weird. Mag's tooltips are incredibly not useful. So yeah, she could really use some better tooltips. That would help her a lot, I think. Now, the reason that I have so much range on here is I basically had the thought of, man, could I meme with Mag and nuke ESO with Mag? And the short answer was yes, you can definitely nuke ESO with Mag. You just basically throw down Magnetize, chuck a Cyanx alt fire in there. You can either detonate it yourself, or you can just wait for it to explode because it's only a 10-second duration, and it's probably going to kill pretty much anything, at that level. So yeah, Mag is a surprisingly good Elite Sanctuary Onslaught frame. Very, very funny. And so strength will affect the pull into the bubble. So if you have a lot of range and a lot of strength, that affects how enemies get pulled in. So it's almost like a super Valbin vortex. Honestly, it's kind of funny. I wish you could. I wish you could spawn these enemies like a little farther out, because yeah, they'll just get slurped into the middle of that from a really far distance. With this build, another Hellman thing I've been really liking Vile Rush. I just think it's a really funny ability. With high range, it just feels nice. There's not a whole lot of other abilities that Mag really needs. You could put Fire Blast on here for armor strip. That's an option. You can also put where is it? Breach Surge is super, super good. I can just honestly, Breach Surge is nearly overkill. It's like comical how much damage Mag can do with Breach Surge. I'm gonna actually, yeah, okay. So let me just throw down my Scourge. Put on Breach Surge. Do that. So I don't even know, man. It's comical. Yeah. I don't know what to say. Yeah, it just does a massive amount of damage. Like, you can basically take Mag's pull and put any helmet ability in there that does extra damage, like Breach Surge, Fire Blast for armor strip, Eclipse, Roar, whatever. Take your pick. Zata's Whisper, whatever. And it just takes Mag's damage from hilariously high to comically ridiculous. Um, so Mag can do a butt ton of damage. She has a ton of weapon synergies. She can restore a ton of shields. She strips armor. She can CC like a champ. She's just like disarming everything left and right. Like absolutely perfect with shield gating. I'll take off. I'll take off the AI on these guys, and it's like, okay, all right, now they're in there. Okay, they can't hit me. Okay, all right, I'll let them have a chance. I'll do that. Oh wait, they're disarmed. Oh, okay, now they're blinded. Now I'm just gonna suck them in again. I think they need to take a nap. Let's knock them down. Okay, let's disarm them again. It's just like Mag has so many tools. It's just amazing. The frame is just an absolute monster and criminally underplayed. And you can see those guys that sucked in at the end had full HP and they died 100 to 0 from an explosion. That's 180 heavy gunners. That's a lot of armor. Those things had no armor stripped and they got one shot. That's a lot of damage. So, so this is probably my favorite mag setup right here. Zeneric Focus School. Honestly, your companion doesn't really matter. If you're going to farm, Smeeta's nice. Death Cube for the energy. Panzer Volpaphyla for the viral is pretty nice too. It's kind of up to you. Sentinels can do a pretty good job of applying viral with Hellstrom. Funnily enough, the projectiles from Hellstrom work with Magnetize. So pretty hilarious amounts of damage. I'm just going to go ahead into a Steel Path mission real quick, just to show Mag off a little bit. I mean, I just really can't say enough. Mag's a beast, an absolute monster. Um, there's really not much more to say. She can just crank damage out like a champ. Tons like the one of my favorite things is whenever a new weapon comes out, I love testing it out with Mag and seeing what kind of like crazy stuff you can do, because Magnetize just changes the game. You know, it makes like Zymos is like, okay, this is an average weapon, but if I can group enemies together and get guaranteed headshots, well, all of a sudden it goes from being like kind of average to ridiculous. Um, so yeah, let's just, I'm gonna get some energy here. I don't even know what build I'm running, nor do I really care. Oh yeah, so this goes through walls. I'm not even on Steel Path, so this is a huge failure. But I'm going to go hop into Steel Path because this isn't going to show anything if they're not Steel Path enemies. But the reason I don't care what build I'm running is honestly, like, Mag's core abilities are so good that it almost like you could probably do pretty well with Mag with literally no mods. Like you would suffer from energy, but as long as she had energy, you could easily do Steel Path with no mods and the right weapon synergies. Another thing is I just love frames that you can actually use ranged weapons with. You know, like I like melee as much as the next guy, but sometimes it gets old swinging the old Sepfanza or you know, whatever, insert OP melee of choice. Sometimes it gets a little old, you know? It gets a little old doing that. So yeah, these are Steel Path enemies. Doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna hit him with the old Cyanx. Yep, okay. That's nice, Mr. Steel Path. Gonna disarm stuff, you know, maybe throw him with the throw a little blind action. Do that. Yeah, stuff just dies. You know, stuff just dies. That's kind of how it is. So yeah, definitely give Mag a shot if you haven't tried her before, because she's something. Now, one thing you could probably think about is adding some holster switching speed mods. If you're going to use Mag and use this combo with the Scourge, that would be pretty nice too. So that's another thing you can do just to make that combo a little smoother, easier to pull off. So here I can use, you know, little strophe action. Gonna run up here, kill these guys. You know, and gonna get that going. They throw out some blinds. Throw out some of that. Now, one thing, even with a Decaying Dragon Shield, Mag does have like quite a bit of shields, so you definitely can run into a situation where your shields don't fully regen, just from like using an ability, like from, you know, using Brief Respite. So sometimes you do have to. Your 3 will usually fully restore your shields though, so you know. So yeah, I don't even know. I mean, there's really no point in me even using Breach Surge. Honestly, it's just kind of adds more damage. Yeah, and so there was the explosion, like just one-shotting Steel Path Grenier. Another cute thing about Mag is that it will, her Magnetize will pick up bullets that are on the ground and start like using them in Magnetize. So that's pretty funny. So yeah, that's Mag. You know, she's the queen. So, you know, she just gives zero poops. It's just, I don't know. I mean, people say this frame is bad all the time, and I just get super frustrated because I'm like, have you like played Mag? Like, the frame is just a monster. So yeah, she's pretty awesome. So definitely give Mag a shot. Give her a chance, because she's super cool. She has so many synergies. She's super fun to play. Amazing fashion frame. I mean, I just can't say enough. She's my favorite frame for a reason. She exemplifies what makes Warframe fun for me. So with that, I hope everybody has a good day. You know, hope you had a good time watching. Let me know if you have any feedback. If there's anything you think I missed. I'm sure that there's, you know, I'm a little biased. There's definitely some mag synergies that I prefer myself. There's other mag synergies I probably missed or I don't, you know, use as much, whatever. So yeah, hope you have a good time. Let me know if there's anything else you're interested in me talking about. So thanks everybody. Hope you have a good one.